All right, lads, take two. As you can see, I just have it there. Went live about 10 minutes ago and never had this issue on StreamYard before, but I actually got like a Wi-Fi sign on the screen. I was like, what the hell is this? So I was like looking at it and then it just decided to disappear. So I was like, right, brilliant. Well, I wanted to go live, so I'm going live. I'm not letting StreamYard stop me. And what do you think? You like the new avatar I got going? I was going back and forth. I was going between this or this, the original, old original. I might just stick with this for a change, just to change it up a bit, just to change it up. We'll have Eddie, no contact turn. I'll big up to Johnny. Shout out to you, my man. Big up to Johnny boy every single time. Good to have you here, my man. Good to have you here. Rich, yeah, G-Man's rocks like a boss with the stream. Yeah, I ain't gonna let Wi-Fi stop me anytime, buddy. Not big up to Johnny. Johnny's got a good channel. Always, you stream at the worst, well, not the worst, but you stream at times like when I can never catch them. That's why I'm very seldom in your live streams. You always stream at times when I can never seem to catch them, or in the middle of the night or something. But big up to Johnny boy every single time, man. Every single time. Who else do we have in the chat, man? Who else do we have in the chat? You got Nick Harmer every time. G-Man having a live in a Tuesday. Bring it on. Well, see, here's the thing. I wanted to do a live yesterday, right? But there was a lot of things going on yesterday. It was actually a bit busy, but I know we're in lockdown still, but I was actually really, really busy. And I had stuff going on. And I was just like, well, it wasn't the right time. So I said, no, I'll do it to this evening instead. And once I'd done that Fury video, I was going to upload that tomorrow. And I was like, no, I'll upload that this evening. And I'll do, I'm going to get my prediction video. A prediction video. You pretty much know the one I'm talking about, probably. You know, a certain someone. I'm going to get a prediction video out for you guys tomorrow. I'm going to do that straight after I finish here. And yeah, that's the plan. That's G's week in a nutshell. You know, that's G's week in a nutshell. If you could, lads, on the way in. If you could. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate that. But who else do we have in here? We've got Tony. Big up to you. What's good, bro? Man, it's all good. It's all good. CG. It's actually nice. CG finally is in like a good live stream. You got it at the right time. You're normally always in. I normally always do them at the worst times for you. So, man, big up to you, man. Helene, big up to you. G-Man's rocks. I actually saw a good question there. Right, so you're asking, how many brain cells does Dave Allen have left? For fuck's sake. And who's more hyped, Marku or Babbage? Right, well, I'll answer the second part because that's more realistic, right? Because God knows, well, actually, that's harder because Dave Allen's brain cell count must be in the single digits at this stage. In terms of Marku, right? Marku's a good fighter. He's not bad, but he's definitely. I think it's fair to say he's very. He has a tendency to switch off in fights. I think that's fair to say. Like if you look at him when he fought Jamie Stewart, right? He knew Jamie Stewart was really a brawler. He wasn't really a puncher, and he was happy to just let Jamie Stewart hit him. You know, he even said it himself. He's like, "Oh, I know he was hitting me, but he wasn't hurting me." Okay, but you were still kind of real switched off with that. You were really not really you weren't really doing anything to stop it. Now against Charlton, he was more defensive. He was boxing very well early on in that fight. I thought he was doing fantastic work. That was the best I've seen Marku fight. But of course, he hurt Charlton, and then he kind of just went into almost like a bag of neutral, you know, where he was just like, oh, I'm happy, you know, I'll coast here, I'll do this. He ends up getting caught. I do think like his balance wasn't fully there. And what I mean by that is, like it wasn't like he was massively concussed. It was just that I think the way he was standing kind of affected him going down as well. It was legit knockdown. And that kind of spurred him back on because you saw what happened the next round and the round after. He really put it on rather than Charlton. You can't be like, you can get away with having lapses like that, right? At this level, that's fine, right? That's 100%, right? But you shouldn't really. But if you'd start, say imagine, let's say for argument's sake, say he's fighting someone like an Avanesian and Marku was winning and he's doing well. And then he decides I'm coasting. Someone like Avanesian, he's going to be on you like White is to Rice. It's not going to be as straightforward. And you're not going to be able to get away with it as you would against Ryan and Charlton. So that's what I got to say about Marku. Babbage, I love watching Alan Babbage fight. right? I think we can all agree that Alan Babbage, not a fully fledged heavyweight. He is probably. I'm not. Look, he's probably not going to get massively far in the heavyweight division. More so if he went down to cruiserweight. But he is fun to watch. He is very fun to watch. But I think someone like David Price, seriously, I'm serious here, people. Someone like David Price, oh boy, that's not a good fight. I think Babbage is great against small heavyweights. He's great against. Not Kennedy is a small heavyweight, to be fair. He's only weighs in the 220s. But someone who is harder to miss than he is to hit, right? Someone like that, Babbage looks great against. If you're someone like Pricey, who's 6'8", is going to move, that might not end well. I think that we could, like, if you look at Shondell Winters, right? Winters, a cruiserweight in there. Like, Winters is a cruiserweight and he's old. He had success for like the first minute just by moving around the ring and, popping a jab out there. And you just think if someone like that did that against Alan Babbage, who was a legit heavyweight, 6'8", he is screwed, right? He really is. He is screwed. So, what does Jody have to say here? What's up, G-Man? Big up. What do you think Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez? I think it'd be a styles clash. Yeah, Oscar Valdez, right? I know he's 30 years old, but I for the longest time I thought he was only in his mid-20s. Like, I remember, I'm absolutely still amazed he's 34. He's 30 years old. I really did think he was younger because he looks younger. And I was like, Valdez, he's only about like 26, 27. I go on BoxRec, he's 30. So I was a bit surprised about that. I think that Valdez, who would I pick? Stevens is a good fighter. He's good technically. He's a good boxer, very good boxer. Not the biggest puncher, not exactly the most physical, not very physically strong. I think that if we have Oscar Valdez with Eddie Reynoso, size, punching power, strength, physicality, I could see him causing Shakur Stevenson a load of problems. But saying that, Oscar Valdez's defense never been great, and I could easily see Shakur Stevenson, because although Shakur Stevenson isn't the biggest puncher in the world, he is accurate. He's very accurate. And I reckon he'd have a hard job missing Oscar Valdez. Errol Spence versus Tiger. Fucking hell. Yeah, actually, I heard about that. I was in Dell's stream. Shout out to Blue Collar Sports, by the way. I'm actually going to Google this now because I haven't heard about it. Tiger Woods in serious California car crash. Okay. Just going to read this here. I know this is a boxing channel, but I don't like golf, but I do know Tiger Woods. Woods manager Mark Stattenberg said Tiger Woods was in a single car accident this morning in California where he suffered multiple leg injuries. He's currently undergoing surgery. We thank you for your support. Okay, so leg. Oh, he had to be cut from the wreckage. Jesus. Okay, so Tiger Woods. It wasn't last year. It was 2019 when he won the Masters, wasn't it? In Augustus. The Masters didn't happen last year, didn't it? No, or if it did, or did it? It was definitely 2019 when he won the Masters, definitely. But yeah, that's mad. Spence's was like how Errol Spence, lads. Like, I've said it before, I'll say it again, right? Boxing's my number one sport, but motorsport's my second favorite sport. I've been around racetracks. I've seen them. I've done loads. I've seen crashes. I've seen crashes on the road. And I've seen way less come off far worse. That's why I was amazed. I literally still am amazed Errol Spence didn't have worse injuries than he did. Hey, G-Man, what fights do you want to see at 130? I'd love to see Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. I'd love to see Oscar Valdez versus the guy, what's the guy's name? Tank Davis. I'd love to see Tank Davis versus Loma at 130. That's a good fight. I think that the winner of Frampton Heron, I don't know. I think him against Valdez maybe not the best idea at this stage, but I think Heron may cause some issues there. I think that Lomachenko versus Valdez is a great fight. I mean, that's a fight I'd love to see. Valdez versus Lomachenko. That's a fight I would really love to see. So, they're my thoughts. Like, 130 is a good division too. And a lot of them guys can go up to 135 as well. So that kind of, think of it like this, 130 to 140 is just, they're all good. They're all good for the time being. Because the fighters are all good. There's good fights to be made in all the divisions. And even the people who aren't champions in those divisions are still fucking good. So that's what I got to say on that. Big up to Darren. Big up G-Man. Big up, we were worried. Yeah, no, Wi-Fi. So far, I haven't got that message on my laptop yet. So we're all good. We're all good. I haven't got any Wi-Fi messages saying, check your Wi-Fi. Don't pick on Alan, please. Dave Allen. No, I didn't. I just left it there. I left it there. I just said I doubt he has many brain cells. I know there's a parody account that subscribed to me called Dave Allen's Last Brain Cell. I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but I love that. It's funny. You got the J. What's up, G-Man? It's all good. What's up, G-Man? That's a tight pick. Could probably see Fury, but I can see AJ winning. Do you know what, right? I swear to God, I don't know now. Because the more I think about AJ Fury, the more I think about inactivity for Fury. You know? If he planned, because I don't think Fury's going to come charging at AJ like he did Wilder on the front foot. I can see him boxing. And I just wonder, you know, because if that happened in June, 16 months out of the ring, lads, let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. Big up G-Man. Hashtag G-Man's Rocks. Think Marky was it? Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there, Nick. I think Marky was a higher ceiling than Alan Babbage. Certainly at heavyweight. You know, Babbage at cruiserweight maybe might be a bit useful, but Jesus, the minute he fights a tall, rangy heavyweight, he is screwed. Even G-Man, do you see Avni Yildirim, and do you give Avni Yildirim any chance against Canelo? And I give Avni Yildirim, right, as much chance on beating Canelo as I give myself shagging Ali Drew in the next 6 months, right? So that answers that question. Not particularly good. You never know. Stranger things have happened, but you never know. But I can't see it. I can't see it. Seriously, I can't see it. Marco wants to fight Conor Benn. That's an interesting fight. I don't know. Like Conor Benn, I don't know. I still have the memories of Conor Benn coming up where I didn't think much of him. You know, I really didn't. I don't know. I still think someone, because like Formella, yeah, that's fine, but I don't know. There's still worries there. I mean, I never. This is a man who went life and death with Cedric Payne now. I know he's improved, but I don't know. Yeah. Bivol versus Richards. How does it go? And Hearn sticking 2 fingers up to Gallagher. Bivol versus Richards. Lads, Craig Richards is a cool guy. He's done well for himself. He's been the away. He's taken fights on short notice, like against Buglioni. He's been, even though he's been promoted by Matchroom, he's been the away fighter, like he was against Jake Paul, and he's come through those fights. This is a bridge too far. Like, he's not even had a Euro, he's not even won a British title, or has he? Maybe he has. I think he did win against Sterling, but he's not even fought for a European title, and he's fighting a very good world champion. You know, a guy who, look at Bivol's win against Joe Smith. You know, that's just improved. Would you pick Joe Smith Jr.? Would anyone pick Joe Smith Jr. to lose against Craig Richards? I know I wouldn't. So you'd probably pick Joe Smith Jr. to knock Craig Richards into outer space. So that's what we got to. That's what I got to say on that. Jim McDonald box, a big up to you, man. Every time. Ben says Heron Frampton rescheduled April 3rd in Dubai. Yeah, so I heard it was meant to happen this weekend. That is what that is. You know, I still think Herring is going to win. I'm convinced. I'm convinced Heron is going to win. Even to George, crack is good. Yeah. Crack is good. Wow, these are always fun. Gotta love these live streams. Marco hasn't earned a big fight. Needs to beat some good British welterweight. Farron suggested English champion Antwi. Yeah, like The thing about Marco, right? When they get fans in, mark my words, he is going to be a seller, because look at the views his videos get. Like, that's why you see a lot of YouTubers talking about him. Like, you see a lot of YouTubers who are up and coming, they talk about him. I gave a guy advice there. Me and Mark did actually about 2 weeks ago. And I said, because he didn't even have 100 subscribers. And I said, honestly, mate, stick a couple of videos up talking about Florian Marku. They don't, for whatever reason, they do serious numbers, by like probably standards that you're used to, and you'll gain a few Albanian fans. You might not gain massive viewer retention for videos after it, but it will help get the channel snowballing. I don't know how. I know, but it's like that. Like, if you think of it like this, right? Certain fighters who you might not think do great views. This is what I've learned from YouTube. Jean-Real Casimiro does great views. Joseph Parker tends to do great views. Alan Babbage and Philip Hurwich tend to do great views. And Florian Marku tend to do great views. One's Filipino, two are Croatian, one's New Zealand, one's Albanian. They're countries where boxing is not really the primary sport. And in some cases, they might not have a massive amount of sports heroes anyway. Like, I'm not very familiar with Croatian sports other than the football team. Likewise, Albania. So they tend to back their fighters and back people who are in, good positions. That's just the way I've been looking at it. That's just what I've noticed from my 2 years on YouTube. Pricey would, but yeah, I'd pick David Price straight away. I wouldn't even hesitate to pick David Price. Yes, boxing sauce. Yes, G-Man. Gemini. So Gemini, right, are meant to be very compatible with Libras, right? And I am a Libra, just saying. No, I know someone who's a Gemini, and me and her are quite good. That's what I say about that. Big up to you. Fury gives him a boxing lesson. UAE now 70%. Really? But you see, UAE is a dictatorship. The IA is a dictatorship, though. So fight's going to be there. Compulsory for all except workers. Wow. I didn't know that. Well, it doesn't surprise me, to be fair. It really doesn't surprise me. Marcus takes on Chris Congo. Could Marcus take on Chris Congo if he gets through next fight? Chris Congo is one of those names that we really don't hear enough of, and he's very good. He actually is very, very good, Chris Congo. I rate Chris Congo I was very impressed with him when he fought on, I can't remember the guy's name, but he fought him on that fight camp. He fought him on the Povetkin White undercard in the first fight. Just watched G-Man's latest video on Fury. Yeah, man, I'm excited for it. Big up the Broken Nose Boxing. Big up to Chris every time. I hope you're good, man. I hope you're all well, man. Big up to you, man. Been enjoying your 60-second prediction videos lately. Really. Was Kelly's L another example of skipping British and Commonwealth level getting found out? I think it was. I mean, like, if you look at this, right, I know this guy is not, he's a good few losses. But if you look at Sam Eggington, right, Sam Eggington went through British level. He won a British title. He won I'm sure he did win a Commonwealth title. Although he lost to Bradley Skeet at British level, he went the traditional route and he was able to pick up a European title. He wasn't good enough to stick at that level, right? But he was able to get there nonetheless, okay? I think that British level, if you go traditional route, it's better to go traditional route, go life and death in a British title fight. Maybe not life and death, but go and have that British title fight, come out of it, win, learn from it, and then take that into your European title fight. Going straight in when the best fight on your resume is a draw with Ray Robertson that you lost. I thought he lost. A lot of people think he lost, right? So going from that straight into a European title against a very, very good fighter in David Avanesian. I mean, like, I done a post-fight review for Avanesian when he fought on Matchroom Spain in 2019. And I was like, I'm taking Avanesian in that fight if and when it gets made. And literally, no doubt. The only thing I was doubting, right, was that he'd get a decision. Would Avanesian get a decision if it went 12 rounds? I think that if Kelly had gone, I'm not saying he would have won if he went the traditional route, but he definitely would have served him in better stead to get those good checks then. That guy, get the likes up. Yeah, how many do we actually have in the chat? because there's a good few, and I've been missing a load of the comments as well. Apologies, people. I'm going to end up just 56, 59 of the chat, lads. If you could, it's free, right? It is free, lads. It's free to smash the like button. There you go. Subscribe to Broken Nose Boxing. And yeah, exactly, Nick. You're spot on. Subscribe to Broken Nose Boxing. Excellent 60-second prediction breakdowns. I wish I could do that. You'll notice my prediction videos always tend to go long because I always like go in depth. Like I'm thinking, I'm doing Dylan White versus Povetkin tonight after I finish here. And already I'm like thinking, how long is this going to be? How long is this going to be? And Chris can just get it done in 60 seconds. What else can you get done in 60 seconds? And it was Luther Clay. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly. Oh, that's a joke. That's a bad joke anyway. Yeah, that's a hell of an answer. But yeah, no, you asked me what I think my chances are of Avni Yildirim beating Canelo. I'm not going to say he's no chance, the same way you never know. You never know your boy Nelly Drew, but I wouldn't, percentage-wise, you're not going to like the odds. That's what I got to say on that. Jim's like, sort the phone stream out. You can get Coach Asgar onto Dave Allen. Man, I have StreamYard on my phone, but I never, and I wouldn't mind, but I actually got Mark to give me a hand with it before. I just haven't got around to it. I'm not, I have to do it. I'd have to do it offline. I'd have to do it backstage and do it like that because I'm not 100% sure how exactly to get it on the phone properly. I'll have to do it backstage to have a look at it. Hughie Fury versus Otto Wallin. That's not a bad fight, actually. That's not actually a bad fight now, lads. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Hughie Fury versus Otto Wallin. Hughie Fury is better. It looked a bit better at his last fight, but I'm never going to be. I don't know what it is about Hughie Fury. I'm just not going to be convinced about the guy. CG man lurking on Discord. I have Discord. I have like Hatman on Discord, which I don't use, and I have another group that I'm in on Discord, which is a bit hush hush. And they're the only ones I really use it for, to be honest with you. That's literally it. That's all I use it for. Fury, AA says Fury's going to need an oxygen tank. My prediction is AJ puts Luke to sleep. Yeah, Luke Fury is screwed, but Tyson Fury we're talking about there. I clicked on that. You think it'd be early July? Yeah, I don't think June either. I think the longer they leave it, the more it favors AJ. I reckon July as well. I reckon they're holding out to see if we can get fans by like full attendance. We can get fans back in May, fucking May. But I reckon they're waiting until the end of the year. It's not as if Fury can fly top sparring partners in. Yeah, no, that's another thing you need to think of. It's not like he can just turn around and be like, oh yeah, I'll fly these guys in. Who would you get Fury to spar? I think with Fury, it's easier to get sparring partners like AJ. You get like Marius Vac in. You get a Gerald Washington in. You'd get possibly a Michael Hunter if AJ's going for speed, trying to move around the ring. I think it's easier for Fury to get sparring partners than it would be for AJ because he'd have to get good front foot Kronk style fighters. There's not many of them. Maybe a Frank Sanchez. But he probably wouldn't travel. I'm not saying that's necessarily Frank Sanchez Kronk fighter, but styles wise. And then if Fury wants to box, who would you get? Maybe a Collie or someone like that. Just because a Collie is awkward. So it's definitely easier for Fury to get the sparring partners. Fantasy matchup: Miguel Cotto versus Ricky Hatton. Miguel Cotto would definitely, 100%. He'd batter Ricky Hatton, in my opinion. That's what I think. I think Miguel Cotto would batter Ricky Hatton. Do you see the winner of Frampton Herring fighting the winner of Loma Nakatani? Nakatani is a decent fighter. He's a very good fighter, Nakatani. I thought he was going to beat. I was so close to picking him on my prediction league to beat Felix Rodejo, but I actually thought they'd rob him. I didn't think they'd give him the decision, but didn't need the decision. They're feeding Richards. Yeah, man. Like Richards wants it. I think I seen him tweet that he's up for it. What I would say is have we not learned from Anthony Yard stepping up to fight Sergey Kovalev that it doesn't tend to go well? And what I mean as well by that is that stepping up so soon from domestic level, and Kovalev was seen better days. As CG says here, Bivell's shot selection is fantastic, and he does hit hard. I know he's not been knocking guys out a lot lately, but his punching power is there. Oh, it's there. But even Joe Smith said it. Joe Smith said his punching power deterred him a lot. Given the next generation of US welterweights, Jordan Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, how do you see the British contenders faring at world level? Honestly, not great. Guys like Jordan Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, you got to look at guys like Regis Prograis who can come up from 140. Jose Ramirez, even Jose Zepeda, guys like that. I know they're Mexican, but for me, Conor Benn, would you dare put Conor Benn in the same ring as Jordan Ennis or Virgil Ortiz? That wouldn't end well for Conor Benn. It wouldn't end well for Josh Kelly either. So no, I don't. And that's the thing you need to remember. Kell Brook, if anyone remembers Kell Brook on the up and coming, Kell Brook didn't look amazing. He was always decent. He was always good. He was better at the domestic level, but he never looked absolutely incredible, if you know what I mean. So for Kell Brook to go and be one of the top welterweights, shows, who would you guys rather have as your trainer if you had to choose between Gallagher or Boot? I would go with Adam Boot personally. I don't know why anyone would train with Joe Gallagher. No disrespect to the guy, but as a trainer, he is put it like this, right? Adam Boot, although I think there's flaws in his style, the style he teaches, and you need to be a certain type of athlete, you need to have a certain type of athleticism and style to work with Adam Boot. Very good psychologically, from a psychology point of view. He knows when his fighters had enough. I mean, Adam Boot threw in that towel in the 6th round. That was the perfect time to stop that fight. Do you remember when John O'Carroll fought Scott Quigg last year? And he let that fight go on 11 rounds when he could have stopped that fight easily after 8 rounds. No problem. Does anyone remember when Anthony Croller took a beating in the rematch against Linares and he wanted to stop him in the last round? And he let Marcus Morrison take an absolute beating against Jason Wellborn and not stop the fight. So for a lot of reasons, I would go with Adam Boot. It's not even actually a hard question. I'll go Adam Boot, definitely. If one of my fighters, if I was managing a fighter and he was like, yeah, I got offered, Joe Gallagher, would I sign with him? No. Don't. Sign with, if you have Adam Boot as an option, go there. No respect to Joe Gallagher, but damn. That Marku fight looked like me versus Revolution from BDA. All good, and then boom. Marky was very popular. Doesn't matter who he fights. Yeah, he's got 500,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. Most top views are Marky related. Yeah, man. I think I think my highest viewed one is Hrgovic, and then I have 2 AJ videos and a Dylan White video. They're in the 20,000s. I think one's near 30,000 in terms of views. Herring is massive compared to Frampton. Well, Frampton's come up from all the way from super bantamweight. So he's gone from super bantamweight to featherweight to super feather. And Herring's come down from lightweight. So Herring's going to be the naturally bigger of the two. Hi, G-Man. Hope you're well. Man, I'm all good, Tim. I'm all good. Do you agree with British boxers need to go to the US to get better trainers? And if so, who would you say are top 3 trainers stateside? Not necessarily go to the US. There are some decent trainers in the UK. There are, but I think that the US, in my opinion, the US is a little bit. No, the US, the trainers are more versatile. Oh man, Eddie Reynoso in the US is a good trainer. He's an underrated trainer. Ronnie Shields doesn't get enough credit. I'm always annoyed when people don't mention Ronnie Shields in the US. He's a very good trainer. He had the Charlos at one stage. He might still have one. He had Erislandy Lara. Ronnie Shields is a very good trainer. I think he's got someone else as well. Some people like Virgil Hunter, some people don't. personally, I thought Amir Khan looked better with Virgil Hunter than he did with Freddie Roach. That's just from what I saw. I thought he was definitely more disciplined. He didn't make as many mistakes from, a technical point of view that he did with Roach. So, yeah, although Freddie Roach is a good trainer, they're the types of trainers that I like, the US trainers. They're more versatile, I believe. I don't think they teach. You see, with some UK trainers, they do tend to have a one style fits all. Oh, if it worked for a welterweight, it can work for a cruiserweight. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do that. Whereas in the US, they seem to have a bit more understanding of, this fighter needs this fighter needs that. We need to do this with this fight. We need to do this with this fighter. So that's what I got to say on that. Jab the like button. Yeah, man. Jab the like button, as I said. It doesn't cost a thing. Doesn't cost a penny. Jab the like button. 41 likes. 41 likes. If we get to 50, I'll be a very happy G. And then, yes, if you choose between them, you may as well not even box. Yeah, seriously. Well, Adam Booth. Adam Booth could be a good trainer. Adam Booth could be a good trainer with the right style. And as I said, I like what he does with bringing fighters up through the ranks. Like, he doesn't put them in 4-rounders because he knows 4-rounders can be banana skins. And they can be banana skins. You get the wrong journeyman in a 4-rounder and you lose 2 rounds. You're on the back foot. If any YouTubers listening to G-Man is 100% spot on right now on popular fights, on fighters. Yep. Just experience, man. Experience. No, I've been doing this 2 years. I know what I like in there. I know what fans like. Yeah, I keep forgetting that. It's on what time? Well, it's on Saturday morning, isn't it? Because it's on Saturday night in New Zealand. So it'll be on Saturday morning here in the UK and in Ireland. So, yeah, I'll be watching that. I'll be covering it. I think that fight's going to be a stinker. I think that fight has 12-round UD written all over it. But I could be wrong. It'd be nice to see fans in attendance because New Zealand will let fans in. At least I'm sure they will. So, that's an interesting fight. Yeah, you're Gemini too. Yeah, no, I know someone who's a Gemini and she's me and her. Yeah. Crazy D3. Unpopular opinion, but I won't believe Fury Joshua is happening until there's an official announcement. No. I'm going along. I'm taking the plunge and I'm saying, yeah, no, we're getting this fight. I'm taking the plunge and I'm saying we are getting this fight. That we are going to get AJ versus Fury. That's just what I'm thinking, man. I'm thinking we're going to get it. Where am I in the chat, man? I'm after losing like so many comments and questions. Full attendance should be okay in July. I hope so, man. I'm just sick of all this, man. It's just fucking bollocks. UK trainers start to annoy me. They think they're Manuel Stewart in IFL. The Fasid from Ben Davis and Adam Booth, Dave Caldwell, Ingle, annoying. Yeah, some of them can be. Some of them can definitely be annoying. Like I've always said, Dave Caldwell is an okay trainer, though, don't get me wrong, but he's more a manager. So when you hear him kind of talk to his fighters and this, that, and the other in interviews, he's really more a manager. So whenever you hear him talk, I always take it with a pinch of salt that he's got his, because he used to be a promoter as well, or he might still be. So I always do it like that. I always look at it like that. I never really get annoyed about him. I'm just like, he's coming across as a bit of a manager. Mr. S, yes, big up. I have Anthony Joshua beaten Fury on the scorecard, so Fury touching the canvas from a counter, but coming on strong in the last 2. I don't discount that. I actually don't discount that at all. I could easily see something like that happen. It's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a very good fight. That fight's good from Tommy there. Otto Allen versus Derek Chisora. Yeah, Chisora he's had bad luck up there against Scandinavians. He got robbed against Hellenius, who's from Finland, and Otto Wallen is Swedish, so we'll see how that goes. That Chisora really is the cat with nine lives. He really, truly is. I really don't care about the opponent, but Canelo is being active is nice. Exactly. He is going to absolutely smash Avni Yildirim in a couple of rounds. That's he is going to absolutely right. He's going to lift Avni Yildirim clean off the ground. Avni Yildirim hasn't boxed in 2 years. All right, he's not fought in 2 years. He is going to get absolutely lifted off the ground in there against Canelo. G-Man saw an interview from Harley Quinn in 2018. He said UK was the home of boxing, and now they have AJ Fury and him. I mean, how laughable is that? Yeah, man, Harley Quinn is like, I don't take at it and he says serious. Like I've been delighted Sky haven't had him on the shows lately, and like it's not just because he's biased, he is, but he's a terrible commentator as well. You know, he's just so fucking. He just talks absolute, you know what. That's what I got to say. Like Harley Quinn, just the UK's best years were probably 2016 to the middle or end of 2018, when that was when all the big fights were happening in the UK. They were good times. Since 2019, it's been kind of fading out a bit. And you look at these guys who are up and coming, right? The guys from Team GB 2016, they've really been absolutely just, I mean, it's been tragic. I mean, Lawrence Acolli is going to be the best of the bunch. That's not good. Tyson Fury will give AJ angles that he's never seen before. AJ can win, but I would edge Fury on his ring IQ. Yeah, like, man, it's a great fight. It's a great fight. I'm just not 100% sure the inactivity is going to help Tyson Fury. Ego is a dumb. As I always talk about eye test. What a dummy it's boxing. What kind of test that? Well, if you were to base things on eye test, there's so many fighters who'd be. If you were to base things on just eye tests or just flashiness, Josh Kelly would already be a world champion. Richards and his management want to fight Bivol. He's in the WBA ranking, so I say go for it rather than Richards versus an unknown. Yeah, I suppose, but there's. I'm just not one for jumping that, jumping so high, like going from one fight to just whoosh, jumping straight into world level. I mean, you need to kind of, you can really, it's like going to the deep end of the pool before you've even settled in the shallow end. You're going to sink pretty quickly. That's an old video of Tyson Fury jumping in the water. Got footage. Oh, really? So and actually that is an old video, because some people said it was. Some people said in Morecambe it was way too icy for that to be like normal. Then that would be mind games. I'm just going to leave that one on screen. Let you read it. Big up to Nick. What's to say? Why would you put Ben in with Ennis now? No, I said if they did put him in with Ennis, that wouldn't end well. They ain't going to put him in anywhere near Jordan Ennis or Virgil Ortiz. Yeah, Fury seems so fat and seems to stop training. Well, Fury is never going to be the body beautiful type. That's just not in his MO. He's just not like that, right? It's just not going to happen. So for me, having him, as Nick says there, Fury never been the body beautiful type, but he's got a good gas tank. Tyson Fury will never be one of these Joe Six-Pack chisel guys. It's just not him. He's just not that type of person, Even when he's in like peak physical condition, like I think he was against Klitschko, there's still flesh there. He's still fleshy. So Fury is never going to. So when I see him coming in a little bit overweight, like about a stone or so overweight, I'm just like, well, it's not the end of the world. He's never going to be the body beautiful type anyway. Top 5 favorite fighters of all time, G-Man. All right. Jesus. Top 5. Jesus, man. I'd say, honestly, Roy Jones. I used to watch him non-stop, like watch the highlights of him, watched all his fights. Roy Jones, probably Muhammad Ali. Love Muhammad Ali just for everything, not just the fighting. Jack Dempsey. I love me some Jack Dempsey. Nigel Benn, definitely. And I do love me some Arturo Gatti. They're my kind of wouldn't necessarily be my top 5 favorite fighters, but there's some. I'd say majority of them. I'd say you probably take Arturo Gatti out there and put McClellan in there at number 5, but they're some of my favorites, man. I love all them. And you'll notice like some athletic, explosive, some can box, and some are just, all and out rock 'em sock 'em robots. I love watching like the highlights of McClellan. I love watching McClellan highlights, but Roy Jones in like 2015, like I used to just spend days on end just watching all his old fights. I could stop watching Roy Jones. Still love watching him. Who else? I liked Andre Ward. Some people said he was boring. I liked watching his skill. I thought Andre Ward was great. I used to love watching Andre Ward fight. Yeah, it could be boring. It was never going to entertain you, but I used to love watching him fight. Who else? I mean, I'm trying to think of fighters who I didn't actually like as people, but I liked watching them fight. Kovalev. Didn't like him as a person. Thought Kovalev was an idiot, scumbag, but love watching him fight. Who else? God, who else? There's a few, but like they're just to name a few. I loved watching like guys like that. Like I used to love watching Kovalev fight. Man, I used to love watching Kovalev fight when he was in his prime. Now I'm sure we're not going to have the same appeal. I love watching Thomas Hearns. Actually, like a prime Hearns at welterweight. Just lifting guys off the ground. Ray Mancini was actually quite fun to watch. Boom Boom Mancini was actually good fun fighter to watch back in the day. So Ray Boom Boom Mancini, he was never the same after that Dooku Kim fight, but Ray Boom Boom Mancini was always fun to watch. A big up to JL and Limo, both of you guys. Hashtag G-Man's Rocks. Of course, who's my favorite fighter of all time? If I had to, I don't know. I don't really have a favorite fighter, mate. It's more so kind of like I just like all different types of fighters. There's no one fighter I would say I'd put him head and shoulders above anyone else in terms of how much I prefer him. Like I saw Johnny there talking about older fighters, and he says like Gatti, Duran, Pacquiao, Holyfield, Hagler. Older fighters that I liked. Dempsey. I like Dempsey. I liked Schmeling. I like watching Max Schmeling. I watched that him versus Joe Louis is a good fight to watch. The first fight and the second fight. Have those two. Obviously, I loved watching Ray Robinson. The few highlights we have of him. Him against Joey Maxim, even though he lost that fight. So many good like old school fighters. I actually like the old school kind of fights, like real like 1930s, like when you're finding like you're digging through like the archives and you're finding some of the guys out like that. But yeah, like in terms of like the guys in the 80s, like Ray Leonard be my favorite out of the kind of the four of them. Ray Leonard, then Hearn, and then Duran, and then Hagler. Not to say I don't like Hagler, I do, but he was probably the like last of them. Cesar Chavez Sr. I only recently rewatched him versus Taylor, the first fight, and that was a hell of a fight, man. That was fun. You actually realized like how like Taylor was just, you see it, like Taylor was, even the rounds when Taylor was getting cracked, Taylor was just bossing it, but Chavez was just landing those big thudding shots to the point where you see Taylor like literally opening up, throwing these flashy combinations. You're like, man, this guy his face is smashed up. So yeah, I loved all them. That was a great fight. I actually must watch that. I also watched only recently Donald Curry versus Lloyd Hunnigan. That was a great fight to watch. That was fun because they couldn't get over how bad like Don Curry looked and how good Lloyd Hunnigan was. So I only recently rewatched that. That was actually a fun fight to watch. I'll name this account later. Have you ever boxed professionally? Definitely not. No, man. I've barely even been fucking good enough to cut it as an amateur. And I never will box professionally. So it just wasn't good enough, man. It wasn't meant for me. Boxing pro wasn't meant for me. But that's fine. I like talking about it. It's fine. It does the job. Talking about it, I just wasn't good enough, man. Didn't have the athleticism. Could punch a bit, but just didn't have the commitment. Simple as. Things were always getting in the way. So now, Never boxed professionally, and I doubt I ever will, to be honest with you, man. Don't like the glamorous actor Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Yeah, I don't like her. I don't like that either. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I like the original Harley Quinn, you know, where she was dressed in her clown costume. That was prime Harley Quinn. Keep it like that. Gee, man, how did you find out how Gutneck is? Not really. I kind of like I googled him, and apparently he's still pretty much the same. I don't think he's on it. I don't even think he's able to speak. Um, which is sad. It'll be 5 years this year, man. As I said, that was one of those fights where I could see it on screen that something was going wrong, and the cornerman and the referee, and it was Victor Loughlin. In 2016, he refereed. Now, I'm not sure if he refereed Blackwell versus Eubank, but he definitely refereed. Was it Mikey Towell, a fighter who died in the ring? He definitely refereed that, and he refereed Goodneck. So he had a mare of a year that year. He had a mare of a year that year for fights that he was refereeing. I'm nearly sure it was Victor Loughlin who was refereeing that. Yeah, Carlos Monzon was unreal, man. He was a straight up beast. G-Man, which boxers do you like as people? Andre Ward, Spence, Ricky Burns stick out to me as modern day good guys, modern time good guys. Yeah, I like Andre Ward. Definitely seems like a cool guy. Definitely seems like someone I want to spend some time with. In terms of active fighters, Josh Taylor, definitely. I wouldn't mind spending a bit of I wouldn't mind meeting up with Josh Taylor. He seems cool. Some of the fighters who I've met, like Jay Harris. Well, I've met, like I've done interviews, I've done StreamYard interviews with them. But Jay Harris, we spoke backstage, and he's real cool. So if guys like that, they're real cool guys. But I've met Jay Harris. I've never met Josh Taylor, but they're really, really cool guys. They're really, really cool guys. Watch the Fury Wilder fight this passionately. I noticed that you can actually box with Fury to win rounds. While yeah, you can box with Fury to win rounds, definitely. And I think Wilder's jab is underrated. Wilder's not got a great jab, but I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. You know, when he really actually tries to use the goddamn thing properly. Roy Jones, my favorite fighter. Yeah. Richard Hall. Yeah, man, he battered Richard Hall up and down the ring for 11 rounds. That was almost scary what he was doing against Richard Hall in there. I do think, though, they both tested positive for steroids, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, the things he was doing against Richard Hall. I mean, Roy Jones, when he fought, Roy Jones was a freak of nature. But he fought, was it Tony Thornton? And was that the fight that he kept asking the referee to stop it and the referee wouldn't? I know there was a fight early on in his career where he did that. Why did they end the 15-round fights? They ended the 15-round fight, literally what Tony says there, because of Ray Mancini versus Dooku Kim. Because I think it was the 14th round was when he got knocked out by Mancini. And if the fight had been a 12-rounder, I'm sure Dooku Kim would have had, they definitely would have had some sort of residual damage, but he would have lived. I remember watching a documentary about that, about Ray Boom Boom Mancini versus Dooku Kim, and it was, I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but it was fascinating to watch. I mean, Dooku Kim was Korean, and they literally said that what was it? He almost promised himself that he would sooner die in that ring than lose. I think that's the words they kind of used. And literally, I think that was really it was crazy to watch that documentary. It was absolutely crazy. It was actually a very good documentary. I think it might still be on YouTube. Because they talk about Ray Mancini as like Ray Mancini was blue collar, up and coming, and how that fight affected him, and how after it wasn't the fight after it might have been 2 fights after, his opponent, I think he fought a guy from, he fought a Caribbean guy, can't remember the guy's name, and he started bringing up the Dooku Kim fight to get in Ray Mancini's head. And Ray Mancini ended up losing that fight. But yeah, no, that was a hell of a documentary. was a hell of a fight too, if you ever seen it. It was in 1981 or 82, and that was in Caesar's Palace. I think it was in Caesar's Palace anyway. And yeah, literally they stopped doing 15 rounders. Well, I think it was WBC who stopped them originally. Then the WBF followed suit, or WBA followed suit. And I think the IBF were the last to do it because Larry Holmes was the IBF champion when he fought Michael Spinks in 84, 85. He was 85 or 84. And that was still a 15 rounder. So yeah, that was the end of the 15 rounders after well, pretty much that was the beginning of the end of the 15 rounders, you know. Parker versus Fa on the zone listed at 6 a.m. Okay, well I'll be up early. Well, I don't go, even if we were in lockdown, I don't do much on Friday nights anyway. When boxers are more fatigued in the final rounds, they were taking more punishment. Yeah, but interesting fights today that were 15 rounds would be so interesting though as well, wouldn't they? If you just think about it, like if you had like 15 rounders today, how interested they'd be. Jesus, it'd be crazy. But yeah, no. I mean, like you see fighters who were absolutely spent after the 12. So, Jesus, you can imagine some of them doing 15 rounds. Fury has come on strong of the two. In my opinion, AJ carries power, however, I can see there might be demons from Ruiz. Oh, definitely. 100%, 100%, 100%. There will definitely be residual damage from the Ruiz fight. 100%. I have no doubt. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Tony Bellew tried to make it out that Age had done a better job. No way. I remember it was Bellew or Nelson who said that. Yo, big up shout out to Penny. Hey bud, I'm off the front lines for 2 days. Yes, hashtag G-Man's rocks. You got to get that in there. Always. He fought Vlad. You say Vlad ain't good. Well, Fury fought him and took the belt off him. Yep. Fury fought Vlad. AJ fought Parker, Povetkin, Vlad, White, Pulev. Fought Fury fought, yeah, Wallen and Schwartz. I mean, seriously. But I'm like, Fury definitely done a better job on Vlad. But AJ, I think's resume is better. Even though you could say like Vlad, yeah, was fit Povetkin, yeah, but Pulev definitely, Jesus Christ. The Wilder fight definitely flattered Tyson Fury. That's one thing you got to take into consideration. Yeah, he could be flattered from that performance against Deontay Wilder. 100%. 100%. Victor Loughlin shaking at his head at the announcement with Kelly and Avanesian on the weekend. Yeah, Victor Loughlin, man, I mean, like he's had some real dodgy. Like Victor Loughlin's not a bad referee, to be fair, but still. Check out James. I don't really like James English, to be honest with you, mate. He's not really. I'm not. I know Josh Taylor was on it, but James English is not really. It's not really my style, man. To be honest with you, it's definitely not really my style of podcast. James English. There's very few podcasts I'd listen to. Like even when I'm working, like I'd listen to a few boxing videos or I'd listen to music. I wouldn't really listen to many podcasts, to be honest with you. 73 in the building. Smash the like button on the way in or out. Let's make it. See if we can get, how many likes do we have actually? See if we can get a few. We got 50 likes. Can we get 60? Can we get 60? Can we get to 60 likes, please? I'd like that. I'd like it if we get 60 likes. I'd like it if we get 60 likes. Did you hear about how Tony Jeffries said? Did you hear what Tony Jeffries said? Beats brought it up in his video. I was only listening to Beats last night for a little while, and then I had to go. But no, I didn't. I actually haven't caught back up on that. I was listening to the Beats up until he got the full panel on, and then I actually had to go home then, so I didn't actually get a chance to finish it off. So pick up the Beats every time, actually, you know. I think Mark and Beats are probably the two most knowledgeable guys I know in terms of boxing. Hatman as well. I got to throw Hatman in there, but man, they just are boxing encyclopedias. AJ beats Fury. The reason AJ is hungry, stay hungry. AJ's fought better oppositions, I believe it or not. AJ is living rent free in Fury and Frank's head. I don't know about that. I definitely don't know about that. It's going to be interesting. I think this fight is. Yeah. Joe Laws is the egg and spoon race. Yeah, that's you've seen, people know by now. Some of the analogies I just come up with them on the fly. You know, I just come up with the analogies on the fly, and that's how I do it. But yeah, that's all I could think of. I was just like egg and spoon race. I couldn't think of anything else. And beating Joe Laws is like winning the egg and spoon race. It literally is. Johnny Fisher looks raw. He's only 21, but very heavy-handed. Definitely going to follow his progress. He's very like some. No offense to him, but some of these guys who are like 21, 20, they look old. Like Johnny Fisher, like for me, I was like, there's no way he's 21. Like he is, but like he looks old for 21. Like he doesn't look like your typical. When I look 21, I couldn't even go into an off license without getting ID. You know, if Johnny Fisher went into an off license, they'd be saying, "Oh, what do you want, sir?" I mean, like I was like 22, 23, and I was still getting people asking me for ID when I would go in to get like beer or anything like that. You know, some people are like that. Like my best friend, when we were like 16, 17, I would be going out in source like to the park and all like that on Friday after school for drinks. He wouldn't even need ID. He only had 16. He wouldn't need ID. And there was an old, it's gone now. It was on a place called North Street. I think it's I think what's there now is a bloody fucking sunbed. They do sunbeds now, but there used to be an off license there. And he used to go in on the Friday, like get like beers and get Jägermeister and stuff like that. And he was only 16 and he never once got ID'd because he looked way older than 16. Like, I mean, like he was not a 16-year-old. He was like a 16-year-old in a man's body. So some people are just like that. Now, to be fair to him, he didn't age. Well, he's not aged brilliantly, but he's not aged terribly either. Similar to how Sky have brought the footballer YouTubers onto Sky Sports News to give them their opinion. Sky, you should bring boxing YouTubers like you on yourself to give opinion. I'd love that, man. And I would go on it. I would. I would gladly do it. I can see something like that happening for YouTubers in the future, like boxing YouTubers moving forward. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, see, if you want to know, do we know what we're talking about, just watch our videos. You know, that's one of the good things. If you don't have a degree in journalism, which I don't, I never studied it, you use YouTube to get your name out there, you know, and you show them what you can do, you know. It's like when I had to be on TalkSport with Ade the odd time. Like, I don't really be nervous going on there. I'd be more nervous that because we do it through Skype that the Wi-Fi will cock up. That's what I'm more nervous about. But the actual like doing it, you get so used to sitting in front of a camera at home, even though it's just an iPhone. You get so used to it that you don't even think anymore. And it's actually nice when you're doing TalkSport because you're actually like, oh, it's grand. I'm not in front of a camera. I'm just sat on my phone with my headphones in talking about boxing to my mate. It's just like me and him are talking on WhatsApp. So I'd love it if they done something like that, man. I'd be definitely up for it with Sky. I'd 100%. I could easily like that's what I want to do this year. I like, believe it or not, right? I got a job currently that like fair enough, it pays the bills, but man, I've been at it nearly 2 years, and that's 2 years too many. I want to do something in journalism this year. Easily, hopefully, please. Yes, definitely. And hopefully something can happen. Hopefully something can happen. Hopefully they start like looking at us YouTubers and just saying, you know what? I like these guys. I liked it. You know, the producer on TalkSport, you know, she was always like saying, you know, yep, very good, this, that, and the other. So whatever feedback I got was always good. I don't be on there too much. If you have a choice between to be fair, like I can see what they do. If they have a choice between like a YouTuber or they have like, you know, Billy Joe Saunders, you're gonna take the Billy Joe Saunders. You know, that it's just business, but I get that. But when I am on, it's fun. It's fun. It's just always lastminute.com kind of thing. So I always have to be like, shit, get ready. What did you make of Fisher? Yeah, Fisher's an interesting prospect. I'll be keeping an eye on him, definitely. He looks heavy-handed. Looks very heavy-handed. Some of the lesser governing bodies carried on. Yeah, 97 is officially when the last 15 rounder finished. I forget who it was by. I think it was by 2 lightweights. But I remember Tyson versus Biggs was a 15 rounder. And he was meant to have a 15 rounder against Tony Tucker, but it was changed on the day of the fight to a 12 rounder. That would have been interesting. If that would have been interesting if Tucker and Tyson had been a 15 rounder, wouldn't it? Because Tyson, he never had stamina problems, but He was never like a Joe Frazier who could throw loads of punches. He was never like that, you know. So for Tyson to be in a 15 rounder, because Tyson would fight in spurts, you know, he would come with mad fast combinations, real explosive, and then he'd reset and just get ready for another attack. You know, that was Mike Tyson, man. What a fighter. Loved watching Mike Tyson. I really believe the greatest heavyweights are all gone now. The great heavyweights are all gone. Mike Tyson was the last great heavyweight. Holyfield and Lewis, in my opinion, as well. You can't not. Holyfield and Lewis were great. 90% was excellent. Hearn said he wants to make a matchroom version of them with the new matchroom. Man, I'm surprised that they don't. Do you remember when HBO in the 80s and 90s would have a big fight on, and they'd have, it's almost like a documentary of the two fighters. You know, it'd be just like, oh man, they'd have all these like little. I remember with like Biggs when he fought Tyson, they'd have like Mike Tyson on one end, you know, talking about this, and then have Biggs in the other. It was like a little mini documentary. It was just great. They don't do that anymore. Mayweather all access episodes for his fights. The thing I missed about him retirement. No, I don't. I do like some of them, but I never watched the all access things on any fighters. To be honest with you, I haven't been around boxing YouTube a long time. Has the community been a big thing for a while? But like, I only started uploading videos realistically properly 2 years ago, and before that, I was listening to Hatman Ade. I listened to Ade back in the box talk with Ryan days. I knew it beats. That was really it. I used to listen to a guy called Box and Gossip. I think his name was Tom, but he stopped uploading about 3 years ago on about 8,000, and he's not uploaded since. To be, I suppose, like if you think of like back like 5 years ago, you saw a lot of you. There was a bit more variety in terms of like a lot of YouTubers would talk about all the fights as opposed to just this fight, that fight. You know, you'd see a lot more of that. But I suppose like I don't really know. Like I've been around it that long, you know, just listening to videos. I can't really say it's much different. But then again, I'm sure there's some OGs who are there like a lot longer than me who would say differently, say no, it's completely different. But I really know. See, I just kind of run my channel the way, you know, I want it. I just kind of just leave it, just do it like this, and then that's it. You know, just kind of come on here, talk boxing, and that's really it. I don't do much else, to be honest with you. What's that say? Fisher needs to be built gradually. Big mistake with Dubois was putting him in with Joyce. Yeah, man. I mean, like in hindsight, 2020, but in hindsight is 2020. But I mean, Jesus, yeah. What is someone say is a typo? Oh shit! Let's talk about boxing. I see someone said there was a typo there. I can change that after. It's not the end of the world, mate. It's not the end. I've had typos on here. I've had typos on here before. They're not the end of the world. I can always change them. But yeah, Fisher, they'll bring him on slowly. Like, I mean, Dubois had an amateur background. You know, he did. He wasn't an elite amateur, but he had an amateur background. Fisher's only had 4 amateur fights. You know, and one thing we've learned, fighters who've not had a lot of Anthony Yard, I'm talking about him, they need a little bit, maybe brought on a bit slower. Do you rate Johnny Nelson as a pundit? Not really. I used to like Johnny Nelson back in the day, but not really now as a pundit. Now he's just a little bit, he's very biased. He's very pro-matcher. He makes some silly statements. Like he said James Tennyson could knock out Gervonta Davis, for God's sake. I mean, that is just, no. James Tennyson would get iced by Gervonta Davis. I mean, James Tennyson got knocked out by Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer can't punch, you know? And Gervonta Davis, you know, Kevin, put it like this. Tennyson's not difficult to hit. Gervonta Davis is a big puncher, and he's accurate. So that's what I got to say on that. Nelson, not really these days. But I like his I like his Twitter account, Company Nelson. I do like that. Broken Nose could definitely do better than the Sky pundits. Yeah, I know I could do better than the Sky pundits. The problem is with me, like I'm too honest. Like I just say it like it is, and I don't really like. I can't not say what I feel. Like that's the one thing that I'd hate. Like that's one thing I'd always be worried. Like if I was like working for a company and they were like, "Yeah, gee, you need to big this guy up," and I saw someone, and I was like, "I know what I'm looking for, and I know it's not good." I'm not gonna say that like, "Oh, he's this, he's that," when I don't believe it myself. Like so, it's like Sean McComb when I was watching that MTK card and he quit against Gavin Gwynn. I always take it easy on fighters who quit. I always do. But that was real. Like that was kind of that was kind of an eyebrow raiser. Like because he threw. If anyone didn't see it, he kind of did one last gasp stance against Gavin Gwynn, threw some good shots at him. He was still there, and then he just turned his back to the referee. I was kind of like, and he'd no major injury, no anything. It was a tough fight, but I was like, oh, that's not good. That's not good. You know, could be a hard thing. It was actually a good fight. Those MTK shows, they really are good. They actually like really, really, really are good, man. Those MTK shows, I fucking loved them. I remember when they were doing them and they could do like they put an MTK show on and they'd maybe have Sky, Matchroom Italy or something like that doing a show. And the MTK show was just way better. That's actually a good show. Natasha Jonas is a good pundit. You're spot on. I've heard Natasha Jonas a few times. She's actually a very good pundit. They need to get her on Sky a bit more. Natasha Jonas is actually she's cool. We talk about she's cool. Natasha Jonas is actually quite cool. I really thought after she lost to that Vivian Ivanov, she was finished. But that Terry Harper performance, I thought she was real unlucky not to get the win in that fight. I thought she beat Terry Harper. I actually thought that was a very good. That was probably one of the most enjoy. There's very few female fights that honestly say I really enjoy it. Terry Harper versus Natasha Jonas is one of them. Katie Taylor versus Pursuin was one of them. The first fight, the second one wasn't great. It was all right. And who else? They're really it that I can think of. But her versus Terry Harper, that was actually a really, 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 really good fight. Honestly, like lad, that genuine, and I hand on my heart, that was a good fight. That was actually a good fight, and there was actually a bit of technique in there as well. So Tasha Jonas, Terry Harper, good fight. Knew Josh Kelly was going to lose. I knew Josh Kelly would. That was always going to happen sooner or later. I mean, I said it from when he was, fighting. Did you remember when Belly, when he done that, when he knocked that guy out with like the 5 left hooks in a row? I knew as soon as they were saying like this is a future Hall of Famer, I was like, oh boy, this is gonna go, and especially when they say because it's just gonna go one way. But yeah, I knew as soon as he fought a pressure fighter, he was screwed. Joe Stunner in the chat. Big up to Joe. Bit late for this one. Hope everyone is doing well. We're doing great, my man. We're doing great. We're talking boxing. We've been talking for a good hour. We've had a good few people in the chat. We're with 59 likes, lads. I'm just going to say it now. 1 like, please. We get it to 60 likes. We 59 likes. We 58 people in the chat. I'm sure there's one person who's just joined who hasn't liked it. Come on, lads, please. We get 60 likes. Doesn't cost anything. Wait there. There we go. There we go. 60 likes. There we go. I like Paul Smith more as a pundit than a fighter. He's doing a bit of work for it. Paul Smith was Paul never really had much complaint about Paul Smith as a pundit, to be honest with you. He was probably Paul Smith was very ill disciplined as a fighter. He fought at super middle when realistically he was probably 154 pounder. Seriously, because he always was fleshy. So Paul Smith's decent pundit. David Price is actually a decent pundit. David Price is actually a very good pundit. He's underrated. They need to get him in more. David Price in his big coat. Does anyone that suit? I swear, David Price in his big suit. That is one of the funniest things you'll ever see. And you remember that. David Price in his big suit. I know I rant a bit about him, but Dave Allen is not a bad pundit either. Seriously, I rant a bit about him, but he's actually not a bad pundit. How's it going, Limo? Tyson Fury versus Fury. I'd make Fury slight underdog. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I'm starting to kind of second guess everything about that fight now. I still think it'll happen, but just second guessing certain things. MTK shows are excellent for their level. I really do. Like, honestly, since they've started, like, do you remember when IFL first started doing them and they were in little leisure centers and we didn't, like, literally, I heard of none of the fighters. Like, literally, when in 2017, when they started doing that, some of the fighters, I'd heard of none of them. And I mean, I still haven't heard of someone. I don't think some of them have fought since. But then they got, like, Top Rank involved and stuff like that. And definitely. Like, honestly, some of the fights are just like Paddy Barnes versus Jay Harris in 2019. In my opinion, right? That was fight of the year. That was my opinion. That was, in my opinion, that was fight of the year, right? In 2019. And that was on free to air on YouTube. And I mean, that was a hell of a fight. Sean McComb, that was I was I was amazed when I seen that. You know, it was a tough fight. He was cut, but and I'm always very easy on fighters who do quit. I've always been like that, but that I have to say I was raising my eyebrows when I seen that. I know he's had a kid very recently, and I'm sure that was on his mind. But that was an eyebrow raiser when I seen that. You know, he hadn't been down. He hadn't taken a devastating beating. I really was yeah, that was an eyebrow raiser, definitely. And you see, that's gonna give so many fighters, we're gonna fight him in the future, be like, if I put it on this guy, he's gonna quit. And as well as that, he tried to put it on Gavin Gwynn, and Gavin Gwynn still stayed there. That was, that was the end, because he put it on Gavin Gwynn, didn't go anywhere, and then boom, he's like, that's enough's enough. When Dubois back 2-1 fights, then take on Fabio Wadley. Lest we forget, Dubois has been British champion, so it's not like he's been a complete write-off. He's been a British champion, lest we forget. I think that Fabio Wadley versus Daniel Dubois be an interesting fight. Wadley's fighting Molina. Oh boy, Jesus Christ, Molina. Oh, I feel for Jonas. Should be active this year after the fight of the year, world title fight last year. Not long left. Yeah, Natasha Jonas is the wrong side of 30, isn't she? She's the wrong side of 30. Natasha Jonas does seem very cool. I really did think she was fair. She was done after the loss to Obanov, but she's really come back and rebounded very well. I really thought she was very unlucky not to get the decision against Terry Harper. It was close, but I definitely thought Natasha Jonas was landing the cleaner shots. I think I'd done a post fight for that fight. I think it's still on the channel. That was I'll tell you, that was a good fight. That was a really good fight. That was a real good fight. What do I think of Chantel Cameron? Because she beat Katie Taylor. I've not seen much of Chantel Cameron, to be honest with you. In terms of Katie Taylor, as many of you will know, I've never been really on the Katie Taylor bandwagon. I really never have, to be honest with you. Katie Taylor, for me, she's okay in terms of the division she's in, stuff like that. But I genuinely thought Delphine Pursoon won both fights. I thought she definitely won the first fight, and I had her win in the second fight. Katie Taylor really doesn't like pressure. It doesn't like volume punching. If you actually have a boxing match with Katie Taylor, I'm sure she'd prefer that, to be fair. And I'm not really sure what Chantel Cameron is like, to be honest with you. I haven't seen much of her. I'll name that'd be a good fight. They're both excellent. Katie's a bit quicker. Yeah, Katie Taylor is quick. Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor. You know, no. Hang on a sec. Someone's after commenting saying there that my favorite subject is women's boxing. I'm not as big a fan. Whoa, what? Wait. Really? I did not know that. Let me check that. The fuck? Because she only fought like in Ting. Vivian. Brazilian. What? What is this? Life after boxing. She retired from the sport in 2019 following her loss Terry Harper, following she worked in blah, blah, blah. She arrested in connection with what? Whoa. Holy shit. I didn't know about that. Damn. Jesus Christ. I did not know that, lads. And big up to Mark from Unrival Boxing. Talk and news. Big up to Mark. I didn't know that. There's like a 30-year age gap. She's in her third, like 34. He's like 62. Damn. Damn. The heir of Don King. I didn't know that. Well, I didn't flipping know that. Although December was a really crap month for me. I wasn't doing a lot. I was just kind of all over the shop. So I wasn't really paying attention to much things. But yeah, everyone telling me that happened a while ago. Well, thanks for that. Pursuing beat Taylor by a mile the first fight. Best female fight I've seen in the last from Donington Darlington, who trained by, remember her name? What's her name? It's fucking thing. It's Savannah Marshall. And someone's already said that. Savannah Marshall's all right, actually. But in terms of this question here, where is it? I'm not a massive fan of women's boxing, but it's growing on me, you know? It's growing on me, you know? It's growing on me a little bit. Rumors Frank Warren is getting an American deal real soon. If he managed to pull that off, I mean, how the hell he is still going with that is beyond me. Colm took a lot of punishment, and the quit might haunt him. Touch of O'Hara Davis versus Josh Taylor in there. Yeah, we saw O'Hara Davis and him having a back and forth after the fight, actually, to be honest with you. Thoughts on McWilliams Arrow versus Martinez? McWilliams Arrow, he is tough. He's been in there with Gonzalez. He beat Carlos Cuadras. Wasn't he Olympian? He was an Olympian in like 2012, wasn't he? He was decent. He's tough. I'm going with Martinez on points. I don't think if he stops McWilliams, that's a statement. Because McWilliams is tough, man. McWilliams is tough. You know, when he fought Gonzalez, he was undefeated, wasn't he? And he didn't fight for a while. He didn't fight for a while after he fought Roman Gonzalez. And then he came back and he beat Carlos Cuadras. And to be fair, I thought Cuadras was done long before that. I thought he was done after the Estrada fight. But no, he went off and he beat Cuadras. He fought. Who else has he fought? He fought Kazuto Ioka, didn't he? He's definitely no. Did he? Did he fight Kazuto? I'm nearly sure he fought Kazuto Ioka. I could be wrong about that, but I'm nearly sure he did. And you know, he's tough. He's definitely tough. So, and that was Estrada at flyweight, or not Estrada. That was Chocolatito at flyweight when he fought McWilliams Arroyo. So, yeah, McWilliams never stopped. I know McWilliams never been stopped, but I'm not gonna go with. I'm gonna go with points, definitely. I'm gonna go with points on this. McWilliams to lose on points, Martinez to win on points. I think McWilliams Arroyo will be able to. I think he's tough. If he stops him, then that's a serious statement. Now, McWilliams Arroyo was actually a decent fighter. He is. It's just he did fight Ioka. I knew he fought Ioka. To be fair though, like you're in a division and you're fighting guys like Roman Gonzalez, Chocolatito, or you're fighting Chocolatito, Martinez, Ioka, Jose Tanaka, you know, you could be good, and then there's these guys. And that's just to name a few. Man, I think, did I not see somewhere that, is it the WBC or the WBO? Or was it Rumvasai? So Rumvasai said he'd step aside to let the winner of Gonzalez fight Kazuda Wyoka. Please, 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 please do. I really want to see the winner fight Kazuda Wyoka. Man, that's the fight I can't wait for. I actually, lads, I cannot wait. Honestly, cannot wait. I've got Juan Francisco Estrada winning on points against Chocolatito. But man, that is going to be like, you've got Chocolatito, who throws a lot of punches, he's accurate. And then you have Estrada, who is just, he's beautiful to watch. Like, I fucking love, he is probably one of my top 3 favorite fighters right now to watch, Juan Francisco Estrada. I cannot wait for that fight. I'm looking for, man, fuck. I just can't wait for that fight, man. I'm excited. I was surprised that Quadras and Estrada was as competitive as it was, the rematch. I genuinely thought Estrada wouldn't have much trouble. I knew Quadras' game, but I didn't think he'd have Estrada down. I mean, fuck, man. I haven't watched that in a while either, Johnny, but that was a fun fight. I remember watching that live. I actually did watch that fight live because that was on the undercard of Triple G versus Dominic Wade. And, oh, man, I remember that. Because you remember they used to push Chocolatito as the co-main event on Triple G's undercards a lot because he fought Edgar Sosa on the Lemieux undercard. And then he fought on another Triple G undercard as well. I forget the other guy's name. Was it Brian Vera or someone like that he fought? That was like his HBO debut. And those were the days. Aguero knocking a bit now in his mid-30s. Yeah, he's still tough though. But you think his punch resistance is falling off, really? No, I'm still going to go with points. I think he might be, although saying, Martinez can bang though. Nah, I reckon points. If he stops him, then that's a statement. But I don't know. I'm going with points. Big up to Jono. Sup, everyone. Hope everyone is safe and well. We're good, Jono. Big Boys Boxing. Shout out to him. He's got a good channel as well. Go over, give that a look as well. If you could, lads. If you could. But yeah, man. Where else we got? Oh, I like this one here. Andrew Campbell says, G-Man to 4K subs. Very knowledgeable and deserves it. Soon, man. How many are we at now? Like, subs do I have? 6,000 or 6,000. I wish. No, 3,605 to be exact. We'll get there. We get there. We get the 4K. We get the 4K. There you go. Speak the truth and people pay attention. Exactly. What did I say there? Gee, I have a feeling Canelo may be overlooking Yildirim and may lose. Well, someone asked me earlier in the chat, there wasn't as many people in there. I used one of my famous analogies, and I'm going to use another analogy. He asked me, what chance do I give of Avni Yildirim beating Canelo? And I said, in my opinion, right, that he has as much chance of beating Canelo as I do banging Ali Drew in the next few months. Not going to say it's impossible, but it's very unlikely, right? So make it out what you will. No, I think Canelo can afford. He's not fought in 2 years, man. Anytime, Jono. Anytime. Respect, G-Man, to your knowledge, man. Anytime. Big up to that. Martinez in his prime, but Ario on the downslide. I think the more I think about it, the more I think Martinez might say. You see, you're all putting that into my head now. Maybe that is going to happen. You're all putting that in my head now. That's going to happen now. If I do my prediction league and I put down late stoppage for, I'll put it down by a round. If I put down like 10 rounds, Martinez to knock him out and he wins it on points, I'm going to be so fucking pissed. I'll be like, well, I got to let you talk me out. I'll let you talk me out. Mickey Teo versus John Fury. He's in better condition. Has anyone even heard anything about that lately? Mickey Teo versus John Fury. Has anyone actually heard about it lately? Because do you remember when the lockdown, the very, very, very first lockdown was on? It was like, that's all we got was like Ali Drew was an interviewer, and sounds like a boxer. No, Ali Drew is an interviewer. Who does she work for? She kind of does her own thing freelance. She has her own channel. And in my opinion, she's from Wales. She actually is a good interviewer, and she is the best looking interviewer that I've seen. She's not fake, basically. Yeah, Sportsology. She has a one as well. I think it's called I'm sub to it. Wait there, and I'll leave a link. I'm sub to it. It's only got like 20 something subscribers. Where is it? I'll leave a link in the chat in 1 sec. Where is it? They only uploaded the video today, actually. Where the fuck is it? There we go. Quick fire boxing. I'll leave a link. Get me in. Yeah, yo, you can put me in her good books. Say, yo, G-Man sent me. Yeah. In the good books. There's the link. Get into the good books. Comment and say, G-Man sent me. There we go. Yeah, and she's on BBTV as well. Tommy Dix is on BBTV as well. Tommy Dix, an old school, very old school. I think, did he train or manage Shane Erie back in the early 2000s? Shane Erie was knocking around the 90s, actually. Jesus. Shane Erie was knocking around the 90s, but Tommy Dix is fun. It's fun to listen to. He's about 80, but he's knowledgeable. G-Man, I'm absolutely loving these live streams. I'm a young lad and school seriously stresses me out, and these streams are helping take my mind off everything. Big up, hashtag G-Man's rocks. Mate, I appreciate, man. See, comments like that, I absolutely love reading. Like, honestly, mate, like, because these are fun. I do these just for fun. I just love, like, I've been on here now an hour and a half, and I'm just happy as Larry, just chilling, talking, happy. I just wish I had more time to do this, between work and shit like that. It's hard, man. But, man, yeah, I appreciate that, man. And look, I try and do 2 a week on a really good week 3. But, man, I'm glad it's getting you through school, man. Yeah, it's getting you through everything, bro. I like that comment there from Johnny. Canelo versus the Midnight Express. It was the Shamrock Express with Shane Erie. Shane Erie versus Mickey Ward. Hell of a fight. Mickey Ward, Shane Erie. Big up to Dan. Hrgovic versus Hunter. Who do you think wins? Right now, Hunter. I think Hunter is a little bit too fast. Foot speed might be too good. Hrgovic a bit robotic. I'm going to go with Hunter, or Michael Hunter in that fight if it gets made. I think I saw Chris announce it, or someone in the chat earlier say it's been ordered or something like that. So you never know. We'll see how that goes. But definitely, as it stands now, I'd go with Hunter. Isn't that the girl who interviewed Huey Fury recently? Never heard of her before, but if she likes men old enough to be her father, I'll see what I can arrange. She actually seems cool. She's like from Wales, and she's I think she's she's definitely a lot more like real. She seems anyway than like certain like interviewers, like who, Tyann Boot, who we're talking about, and yeah, this guy's like that. Yeah, she seems cool. She's definitely fucking pretty as fuck. I tell you that. So that's that. Have you and O'Reilly met up yet? No, we haven't. We spoke plenty of times on WhatsApp. We chat on WhatsApp all the flipping time, but we haven't. We will. Yeah. What? When G-Man met Ali Drew, let's make it happen. Fucking hell, man. Oh, mate, G-Man, Jesus Christ. You never know. As I said, right, when I made that prediction, right, I'm not saying it's impossible, right? There's always a percentage. You never, as Han Solo said, never tell me the odds. Never tell me the odds. Lads, we've gone about an hour and a half. I'm going to call it quits here, right? I'll call it quits here. Gonna go on camera for a quick one. Call it quits here. My hair's all over the shop, like it's fucking all over the crap place. But call it quits here. I'm gonna try and get one of these in tomorrow. Because Wednesday, I don't work Thursdays anymore for the time being anyway, because of lockdown. So definitely gonna do another one of these tomorrow. Usual time tomorrow evening. Go back off. We'll do what we gotta do. We'll use what we gotta do. Who is Ali Drew, for fuck's sake? Well, Nick, I left the link to her channel, right? And I'll leave it again. I left the link to her channel, and I'll leave it again in the chat. And you can happily go on and say G sent you. There you go. I'll click on that comment, hashtag G-Man's rocks, all that good stuff. And smash the like button on the way out. Of course, support the channel if you could, lads, if you could. And yeah, that's that. That get on Twitter, lads. Hit Ali Drew. Jesus Christ. I'll use my connections to get you to cover a card, G-Man. Man, I would give absolutely fucking anything to just get over and cover a card. And here come the hashtag G-Mans, right? Big up to you guys. And the Ali Drew comments. I'm already buttering G-Man up for Ali Drew's comment section. Oh, shit, lads. Maybe I fucked up saying it. Maybe I did. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. As you can see there, when G-Man met Ali Drew, let's make it happen. Lads, I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Have a good night. Peace and love. Positive energy. We gonna be good. We gonna be good, right? We gonna have a good day tomorrow. I've got a video coming for you in the morning. I'm gonna record it now, and then we'll do another live tomorrow evening, as we always do, lads. I'll talk to you. See us, and please don't fucking keep it. We're just gonna leave it, right? We'll talk to you.